No echoes.
Yeah, it's dry and so much.
No echo.
Very different from other caves. Like in my country, there's so much echo. It's very hard to communicate.
Would someone do that?
It is an option.
It is an option. So is this your saying?
No, put on the internet. Everything's on the internet. As they got over here, the rope pulled out of its cable grips.
That person probably broke the water and the rest fell in.
No, because they were filming it. And so I saw it. Yeah. Hey?
Individual that is nothing like the traditional Western idea of the transcendent self, or for this new self is floating, discarnate, de-worlded and decontextualized from all world horizons.
Looking at Ray Kurzweil and Google and whatever.
Just like I suppose when you get like something, so that's not, you know, you might get someone come along and you might be watching something and that's not real. Hang on a minute, for fuck's sake, let me watch this. You know what I mean? I was I was in my own reality with this film or program or whatever.
Yeah.
You've just taken me out of it, but you've been literally. I don't know. I don't care whether it's not real or whatever. You know what I mean? Let me think about it. I don't need you to tell me. And when you think about something.
Oh, I thought I paused the TV because Chelsea was playing.
What's tickling you?
Why about the fucking Oreo bottle?
Oh mate, did you hear that?
No, I need to pause it.
If you're watching it on the telly, you're a cunt. There's actually no cure.
They just recommend like doses of simulator 2.
What I'm doing is like explaining that you're going the wrong path. You can take it, it's your choice. But what I'm saying is, well, I think me and you, I don't know if you can remember Monty, we were saying like, because we was all explaining, because like, why is it like this, or you know what I mean? It was, I thought.
I think this guy's family have been killed in some accident or a car crash. He's in some
do you know what I mean?
purgatory.
Details or just, I was glad to see him online and communicating. I encouraged Monty to, your excuse, to...
That's alright, I'm just going to simulate some VR. It's a portable Lidar scanner, you know, those 3D mapping sensors. So it's a VR game where you put on a VR headset in a cave. So it's like a point cloud scanner. But driverless cars are going to be using them, aren't they? Say again?
Fair enough, I will lie. Wait, how are you, man, Chris?
I can't watch that.
Something better there.
Well, the title.
Yeah. Emotionally flat. What are you going to be wearing?
I don't know yet. I'm just like.
You're going to be wearing a cardboard tank.
WWE, I want to watch that. Oh, but.
Like, you know, like the bathroom time is like, you know, get in there, get out. Sit there watching the program.
I usually read, man. I usually have my notepad on the side and I'll read, and I usually get my ideas and fucking jot shit down.
I'm giving it a royal.
Well, there you go. Exactly.
Man shaving.
Yep.
I was just making a cup of tea the other day, and they stormed a restaurant serving meat. It wasn't McDonald's or anything like that. It was a restaurant, and they stormed in there making a scene. Doesn't matter who wrote the book. Even if it was a scientist that was literally AI.
It's like the illusion. When you do that, it's the illusion that, oh, I'm doing something, I'm getting something done, and you fucking not. There's no results. It's just noise with no results.
Well, this is it. All their actions absolutely pointless because invaded. Why choose that business or that restaurant to demonstrate? And the videos came out were from them. And I was like, yeah, I mean, they were making a start. But why?
Got some more.
You're gonna dip your bread rolls in beer. Where?
Hang on a minute. We'll tie me up tomorrow. Or are you going to go feed the chickens?
I'll be there before someone.
Then what?
You wanna stick your chickens in the computer?
Yeah.
Have you still got pictures of them?
No.
The chicks that you had in the computer?
Well, I've got new ones.
I'll have to send them.
Get some of them more. I've got them here on the run.
Pixel piss and what? Bread?
In 13 minutes time.
Right, I'll catch you some more.
Well, this game mechanic, man, it's fucking interesting. You got your WASD, you know, that's
yeah.
But because you're just in a cave, you can't see jack shit. You've got like a scanner.
Help yourself, and I just got up.
Archaeologists have been using them for years, man. They take scans and stitch together archaeological, historical places. Yeah, so there's a CGI mental face space for the discovery of history and creating it. You know, experiencing these archaeological spaces in the field. You know, it's like these flat polygons and point clouds. You know, what's a polygon? It's a face. You know, like so this, you know, and that there's these portraits, this face, you know, like morphing all over the place like that. She was like, why didn't you fucking write that? Because it's there. You can see it's there in front of you. You don't. If I want to learn how something works, then I'll want to take it apart and dismantle it. But it says like if I want someone just to appreciate and let it have its own power.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying. I remember when I went on a skiing holiday, and one of the two guys I was with, one of them had.
You know, when you're just doing normal caving, and then with a headset, it's just totally. It's fucking weird as fuck doing that in real life.
You're sitting down doing it though. You're not standing up like doing the VR, are you? VR.
No, it's obviously like a simulated VR. So, but the game is designed for a VR headset. I'm still on a pedal bike. No, still pedaling away.
Isn't it like a distraction?
Really, because it really depends on what I'm doing. Because like, there's sometimes, I mean, I can video edit. I think I can just do all the basic shit. In game, it doesn't fucking. There's no. I guess it's the way it's all positioned and everything. It's just, you know, you're not leaning. You're just like almost sat in. Well, I'm just sat in a chair basically, just pedaling.
To be honest, I could ride a bike fucking backwards or sleep as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
I love riding a bike. It's my freedom. It's one of the things.
One of the best things, isn't it? Like, you know, when you get people like going about, you know, like, 'cause I was on a moped and a motorbike loads in the Philippines. I fucking prefer bike over it. 'Cause it's slower, gain more insight because you're there in a place and you're not excluding out the other or any foreignness. You're a load of like good, in terms of mental health or whatever.
One of the things I deal with at work, what does that mean? That's because I think I do know what it means, but like I've taken it out of my brain. I'm not interested.
Yeah.
But actually, I just it's at the moment in time which I need a car, and I'm literally like prepared to fucking ride my bike, which I bought for my birthday present. You know what I mean? And I'm gonna ride it. I rode it tonight on the way home and last night, and I felt like fucking love it. Just having that under your desk. I'm only saying I couldn't imagine. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. I just couldn't imagine. I wouldn't be able to concentrate.
It's just pedaling. Like it's not distracting at all. And I'm not thinking to myself I need to pedal. I've got it on a kind of a light mode. It's easy going. It's just
there's not a lot of resistance.
Yeah, man. I don't wobble. It's totally not what I thought, because I thought the same thing. I think, you'd have to be always thinking, I've got to pedal, I've got to... none of that, man. It's fucking... Which is why I'm like, fuck, why didn't I get one of these fucking years ago? It's fucking ace.
You don't really have a bike in them days. Depending on where you live. We lived in a maisonette. It's like a house in a block of flats. It's fucking massive paper out. Then I got into my bikes. I was like fucking building bikes myself. Out of spare parts. I fucking live by bikes. The British Heart Foundation. Kind of just do your effect. Go and rest. There, from London to Brighton. The bottom of Sussex. And it's this massive like fucking hill which is a single track lane. Most people walk their bike up, or if you was old enough you would ride your bike up. Fuck it. I've got to the top of the hill, there's another water station at the top of the hill. I actually go and buy some food. I bought some hamburger. Sit there, fucking eat the hamburger. You know what I mean? I didn't know rush. I didn't think. You know what I mean? I didn't think nothing of it. I thought all you lot was way ahead of me. I goes, yeah, but like, we left you in Clapham Common. I goes, yeah, you did leave us in Clapham Common. But like, when we got out of London, I said to the others, I'm going to do the off. He goes, how did you get here first? Oh, well, God, I was going to ask you. You two fucked off before your time started at the line. Now, how did you two? I said, you just got a lift, didn't you? They like went stages and stuff like that. I was looking for the cameras for the British Heart Foundation, and I was saying, you know, we'd all chatting and having a laugh. We'd have people like from my own company right past going, alright, wankers. You know what I mean? And I got there first. I was the first person there. Even for the owners who fucking got a lift.
I want to go here, I want to check this out. Oh no, that's too far, you can't do that, that's too far. You know, like you need a day, you know, like, and you gotta plan for the traffic and all that. And we walked it. We just spent this a day. I had heat stroke and all. I fucking walked it. and I was like, well, while we're here, we might as well see this. While we're here, we might as well go over there. You know, and that was our entire day, just fucking walking coconuts. And anywhere there was a stop with coconuts, I was just fucking rinsing them. I got through water straight away. It didn't feel total out, man, but like afterwards, yeah, I had fucking heat stroke. Fucking dizzy as fucking all that.
Amsterdam. That's that's not my intention, but they ride from a certain distance, like choose like partners and stuff like that. Well, I think they set off from Plato, nothing really. In fact, possibly, it all went wrong when the family that I was part of actually killed someone.
What?
Stabbed them to death.
Fucking hell, a Mormon?
Yeah, so he was a good lad, At the beginning, but once he got balls, hairy ones, it became like, he was literally a savage.
He was eating meat, that's what happened, mate.
But actually, because like I said, stabbed him to death.
Like, what was the motive?
Well, just a bit on the same night, and he just didn't give it up. So he went round his house and stabbed him to death. Well, I've lost, especially in the peer pressure environment.
Yeah.
But they will say, right, well, there's no such thing as like saying, fair enough, you won. That's the end of it, but it's not nowadays. It's an ongoing battle, and they got friends who are going to do him, doing you. Like that thing, that mentality. Mentality has to be taken away, but it will never be. Which is group mentality. So like, something happens in this town, like someone actually dies from a fight. Big news in this town. Why is it like the newspaper and stuff like that, and social media? It literally is a wave of like everyone's opinions, who was in the right, who's in the wrong. They did that because it was like e-friendly first. It's like a hanging, one of those days where they, where everyone's prejudged before they're in. There was no such thing as innocency. Innocent. You done wrong. You was just guilty. Simple as that.
John? Is anyone else coming? No?
Just us.
Okay, so me and Chris, we go to have a look to the Giant's Walk. And then we go back. Behind you. Good. Thanks.
Yeah, we are alone.
We are alone.
Leave my bag.
Okay.
Please. A Giant's Walk.
Rapunzel's
Dreadlocks. As if. Why the fuck have you got to be guilty for metaphysical investment? What's that about? In what? What presence or identity or what? Or a decay? Yeah, but this, you see the difference. I don't know, man. Fucking hell, it's a box of frogs, isn't it? Well out. Yeah. Yeah. What load of shite? No, because the intention is still there, and they're still using techniques. Yeah, everything for the fucking camera to the file format. This fucking blast it out and circulate it as what? Objective post-truth fucking what's its chops. effect of authenticity in it. The authenticity filter. The hips, the veneer. It is a fucking techno-romantic fetish though, because it's all in bad faith. A bad faith filter bubble. Fucking hell. Echo chamber of idle talk. Yeah. Who's that? No, I don't know. But everyone hated old chemical photography in the mechanical reproduction age. Now it's all authentic aura. Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Spot on. Yeah. Oh, this is what I always hear about when people are shooting on film. They yeah, so we've spoken about that. Film hides flaws, and you've got to change your way of thinking when you're shooting in digital. I don't know, man. I just like my GoPro. Fucking hell, it's not. Oh, fucking hell. I don't think any of that is recorded. There's this thing with fucking OBS, man. It fucking. If the computer goes into a sleep mode, and you start it back up again and record, it doesn't get the audio. Oh, it doesn't matter. Bounce on there and then do screen share. Okie doke.
And so Foucault has this idea where he's got these different stages of Western European history, and they differ. Each time in each one of the books that he does, it's different. In the order of things, for instance, it's three distinctly different stages: the Renaissance episteme, what he calls the episteme, which is the structural modality of an age. And for Foucault, each one of these ages is structural in the sense that they're built up out of these strata. And so you have the Renaissance episteme, and then we have the classical episteme, which comes in to displace it in the 17th century. Both of those are essentially what he means later by the sovereign age. The prison comes in now, and the soul of the person is tormented, because now if you commit a crime under the disciplinary regime, you've committed a crime against society. And so your soul is tormented, not your body. And so we get all these different institutions. We get the school coming in, we get the barracks, we get everything is a mold. As Deleuze says in this essay here on Postscript for the Societies of Control, that each one of these institutions is a kind of mold into which you are inserted and to which you must conform. And so we're always moving from one mold to the next, from the school to the barracks to perhaps the hospital every now and then, possibly to the prison. We're always moving from one mold to the next. And these disciplinary molds are something that we have to conform to. Taking, I think, the term control from William Burroughs, for the society of control, where it's not the factory anymore, it's the corporation. The corporation comes in, and you're never finished. It's no longer molds that you have to conform to, it's modulation. Your entire life now is modulated by the society of control, which is electronic and digital, and the corporation is the primary entity, not the factory. And we're never done with the institutions. The institutions aren't molds anymore, they just spill out. If you're wearing an ankle bracelet, you're no longer in the prison, but now you're stuck with an ankle bracelet in your house. So the prison spills out into the society. Education is never finished. We're always continuing our education. We're always taking classes. Education is not something finished. So none of these molds any longer is self-contained. They're all in a process of disintegration, and we're always trying to modulate our lives and our activities to suit this society of control, which is always watching us with RFID chips, or whatever the case may be. So it's always a case where we're, and Deleuze says it's not an accident that surfing comes in now as the primary sports instead of the traditional sports. Now it's surfing. You insert yourself into a wave and you modulate yourself in accordance with the wave.
Deleuze is kind of issuing a warning about potential futures in which there is no easy way out of these structures of control, but at the same time there's this sense in which these new systems of control offer new possibilities of resistance.
And so what do you see those possibilities of resistance being, Leon? That's the thing I trouble.
That's a good question.
Yeah, that's what I struggle to grasp is what are these new modes of resistance? And just to bring in your essay, John, on hypermodernity, sorry to diverge a little bit, but you talk about Marxism's dead, the community's dead, and art is dead. And I've always seen art as a very important mode of resistance. And it's interesting to me that Deleuze, who writes about art quite a bit, only has one sentence in this short essay where he mentions it.
Right, yeah.
And it's a negative sentence.
I noticed that too, yeah.
So that's kind of what I want to know. I want to know what these new what these new weapons are that he mentions, if you can point me in the right direction at all, Leon.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of interesting because he doesn't outline a specific program here. He just points at certain possibilities that he sees developing. But one thing that I keep thinking about is the notion of crisis, right? As he says, today, what is it, here it is, the family is in crisis, right? All these different interiors are in crisis. And that's really how I am starting to see our present historical moment, as one ongoing perpetual crisis, right? Economic, political, ecological, social. It's not so much that this essay points to specific ideas for how to improve the world.
Institutions that we've inherited are now leaky, and they're just leaking all over the place, and we're stuck with the residue. It's like we have to live our lives under this regime of these disintegrating institutions that just keep sticking to us. It's like we can't ever quite get them wiped off, somatically of our bodies and our minds. We're just stuck with this constant process of education, constant process of in and out of the hospital, in and out of the prison. And it's like, where does this point to? I mean, where does it go? What happens when? Is there ever going to be a point where these institutions are no longer exerting any kind of influence over our lives, or is it? This is another question too. I mean, does the society of control? How much is the old model of center periphery still? How much does that still apply? Where the control, if you're trying to control something, there's always like a center of power that's exerting a force out over a periphery. Like with the panopticon model that Foucault came up with, where the prison. You're in the prison and you're constantly being monitored in a 360-degree radius, like the Greek god, what's his name, Argos, who has 1,000 eyes and can see in all different directions. So there's nowhere you can go where he can't see you. That's the panopticon model, and it seems that was part of the disciplinary society, but it seems like it's carried over now in an electronified version where we're constantly under surveillance by digital technology from these technologies from these shadowy corporations that are constantly just keeping tabs on us. It's like, why do I have to get an update from Microsoft on my computer? You know, constantly, I'm constantly receiving updates whether I like them or not. But what if it's the case that I don't like them and I don't want them? You know, but it's like we're just sort of force-fed this this control now, which is decentralized. There doesn't seem to be a center. In the sovereign age, at least you knew where the persecution was coming from. It was the king. You know, if you pissed the king off, at least you knew who was persecuting you. Or even in the disciplinary society, you knew that the institution was unhappy with your behavior, and if you wanted to get out of it, you had to conform to that behavior. But it's like now, it's no pleasing any of these institutions because they're constantly interfering with our lives.
Is there something that we are now all free floating, and we're not individuals, we're individuals, I believe.
Individuals, yeah.
Right. The term it uses, and we're so we're caught in banks, so data banks and things like that. And you point at it there, John, like at least in the disciplinary society, you had the prison you could see and you knew in a sense that you were in the prison. It was concrete. Whereas now you kind of still are in prison, but you're in this different type of prison that you can't quite grasp. You can't completely see. You're forced into this, look like it's control. You're forced down this narrow path, and and you can't completely see it or grasp it because we are free floating because it's digital. It's more liquid. If that
I do like the way, in light of that he cites Kafka as as transitional between the disciplinary and the control society, because in Kafka it's like there's no end. He winds through this labyrinth in the trial looking for, he doesn't even know what he's being accused of. It's never even specified. He just knows he's under suspicion, and he spends the entire narrative trying to find a way through this labyrinth to find a source from where this persecution's coming from and who's doing it and why. And it's like he never finds the answer. And so I like that idea of Kafka as the sort of prophet of the society of control. He already saw it coming. He already saw this endless process of deferral without resolution. We're always on trial, and there's never like a point where, oh, here's the day of the trial, and now I can hear the sentence, because you never get there. It's in the society of control. It's just, well, we know you've done something wrong. It's like, what exactly did I do wrong? It doesn't matter. We just know you're guilty, and it just goes on and on and on.
It's interesting that again in previous epochs you had these different regiments of discipline. So these different spaces that you would go through, as he says with Foucault, right? Whether you're being disciplined in the school, or disciplined in the military, or disciplined in the factory, or at work, or however you phrase it. And that made life difficult, but you could also identify where you were, as you said, and you could identify what the limits of that particular institution were, and then you could identify who you were with in that institution. So it gives the example of, let's say, factory workers, right? And if you work in a factory, it's difficult and really unpleasant. You have a boss who's always on you, but you're kind of part of this mass of other people together working on this factory floor, and you're all sharing in this condition. So at least that offers some possibility of connection and, we might say, like mutual sympathy, and something like what Deleuze himself participated in the '68 protests in France.
Yeah.
Right. What we're seeing now is a society where it's much more labyrinthine, as you said. It's not one institution. It's a giant labyrinth, or Deleuze likens it to the coils of a serpent that just wind around you and seem to have no end, right? And so that proposes a new problem that he sees on the horizon. He doesn't have an answer for it. He doesn't say, well, here's how we get out of it. Here's how we create a more egalitarian, a more liberated, or a more equal or free society. He just says this is kind of the shape that the method of control is taking now. It's constant, labyrinthine, it follows you around. And I think one of the most insidious things about it is how it divides, individuals from each other, and then divides them within themselves, right? So, going to the example of the factory floor, I might not like my job, but I have my coworkers, I have my colleagues, I have everyone that I'm working with and who's struggling with me together. We have the same grievances, the same complaints, and we can begin formulating the same solutions. Right now, it feels like, the more that we see precarious, part-time, freelance work, the more individuals are kind of divided from each other and brought into a very atomized society. And the more it feels like people are even divided within themselves. Like when you become, for example, a freelancer, you work and you are your own boss, so you have to kind of discipline yourself. It's not that you go into a place that disciplines you, it's that you have to internalize and carry this discipline with you at all times.
Yeah, I like that idea because I was wondering about his term "dividual." As we're no longer individuals, we're dividual. But the prefix "div" means to divide, but it's also related to the word for two, duo, duo, and it's like, how are we divided now? And it's just so we're not like these monadic individual subjectivities. It's like the society of control now divides us from ourselves.
Whereas there's not just this one way, because what I keep seem to come back to is that we always are told that the goal is this happiness, this pot of gold at the end of the path or at the end of the rainbow, and it's happiness.
He loves ambiguities, and people try to boil him down to like one thing. In a certain sense, he's like the philosopher of the control society. He's already looking ahead to it, where it's this endless labyrinth. You go this direction or that direction. There is no clear way to go. You just have to surf it. You have to get on it, modulate the wave, find a wave that you can ride and surf your way through it. Who knows whether you're getting anywhere? Is a surfer surfing a wave getting anywhere? No, he's just riding the wave until the wave dies. Go ahead.
It's really interesting. I mean, when you think about, let's say that right now, the end goal that's supposed to be at the end of this labyrinth that we find ourselves in is some kind of constant, perpetual happiness. Whatever that might be, like any definition of happiness, it has to be just vague enough to work, right? But it's always, as Deleuze says, it's always deferred, right? There's always another seminar or another book to read or another job to, you might make another career change, you might move somewhere else, right? This end goal, which I think in previous epochs used to be so clear, as the institutions that you made your way through in life were clear. The end goal itself has become constantly deferred, constantly labyrinthine, and that is itself another problem, that we don't even know how to reach an end goal.
Yeah, and is there even one that we know of? I mean, it's like, if you take Aristotle's idea of the entelechy is always trying to get to a telos. It has a specific goal, the telos of the tree. The acorn has the telos to get to the tree, and then once it's there, it's like, I'm done. I'm a tree now. And it's like, well, what about our human lives under the conditions of the control society? What is the telos? And it's like, I don't think anybody has any idea. I'm not even clear what the telos of my life is, and it's constantly deferred. Yeah, there's always another seminar. Right. I like that.
These nebulous, serpentine kind of problems. Whether those are, again, problems at the level of the nation state or problems psychologically with the individual, not knowing where to go, not knowing what they want, not even knowing, you know, how it's possible to feel happy anymore in a lot of cases. But what's interesting to me is that all the proposed solutions don't seem to work very well, right? That's what I find so interesting about this particular moment that we're all in. It's, you know, one perpetual crisis after the other, and then different actors proposing different solutions, but none of the solutions ever really seem to be solutions, you know? Whether that's, you know, Trump promising to make America great again, and then it's not so great, or you have you know, the election of, let's say, a far-left party in Greece that promises to leave the EU and then it doesn't, or you have, let's say, on the Tony Robbins, Jordan Peterson side of individual motivation and psychology, you have, you know, these rules for life that, once you actually drill into them, are incredibly simplistic and don't give you that reward at the end of the tunnel that you're always looking for.
Yeah, one of my favorite Nietzsche quotes is from one of his notebooks, where he says, "A preponderance of mandarins is a sure sign that something has gone wrong in an age." You know, you're like in China with the 1,000 schools, of whom, you know, most of it's gone because it was all book burned. But what's left is Confucius and Lao Tzu and Mozu and a few guys, Chuang-Tzu. But that was a major age of crisis. 7th century down to the 5th century, they reduced all these schools, and it's like, it's not a sign of intellectual health. I think it's not a sign that an age is doing well. And there's a jillion thinkers, and they all have a different solution. Because when something has gone wrong, the conditions for living have become so problematic in a given age that now we need to hear a billion different solutions. And it's not like an age, you know, when it was Plato and Aristotle, and they just had the Academy and the Lyceum, and that's where you went. You know, very simple and straightforward. Just listen to these guys. It's not like that now.
Where he actually talks about, but I'm getting sidetracked, but where he talks about how when you've got, you give kindergarten kids a paperclip, and they can come up with all these ways to use a paperclip, and then if you keep giving it to them, it declines as they go further along in schooling, which I think kind of says something where they were pushing everyone into these narrow ways of thinking, which clearly I don't think is working, because we've never seen anxiety and depression, particularly in youth, at such a high rate. And I don't know if that's something because we're overstimulated, or we're continually told to operate in these narrow ways, or told to have this goal, yet told to get it in numerous different ways, as you said, in the labyrinth. And it's just endless. Like, yeah. I mean, I've got a degree, and I don't use it, and now I'm doing another degree. It's just perpetual education.
That's still not good enough, right?
Yeah, yeah. and then it's like, yeah, and it's just, yeah, it's endless. Leon had a status the other day about the university system, where it was like $26,000 get you a degree. Oh, does it give me work and meaning? And the university system's like, what? What's that? Yeah, there's just, yeah.
We no longer see the end point of doing things like that. Like, I have to get a degree, or I have to get this qualification, this certification, this training, but it's never clear that after that I'll arrive at some kind of static state where everything will be fine. Like, now we don't arrive at a static state where everything's fine. That's that idea. I think, what do we have to do now? Like, we know things are bad. We know it's a giant labyrinth.